the intriguing world of ancient laws. Welcome to this journey through time as we delve into the mystifying world of ancient civilizations and their peculiar legal systems. Whether you're lounging on your couch or preparing a warm cup of tea, prepare to be both fascinated and relaxed as we explore some of the strangest laws from our distant past. Picture yourself in ancient Mesopotamia. The year is roughly 1754 BC, and you're standing in the bustling city of Babylon. The air is thick with the scent of baked bread and the cacophony of merchants selling their wares. In this ancient world, the renowned Code of Hammurabi reigns supreme, a comprehensive collection of 282 laws etched into a stele of diorite for all to see. While many of these laws are pragmatic, such as those dealing with trade and contracts, some are delightfully bizarre. Take, for instance, Law 129, which states that if a man's wife is caught in the act of adultery, both she and her lover must be tied together and thrown into the river. The law is as harsh as it is strange, reflecting the era's societal norms and views on fidelity. As we drift across the Mediterranean Sea to ancient Greece, picture the towering Acropolis of Athens, its marble gleaming in the sun. Here, the legal landscape is different, but no less curious. The Athenian legal system is known for its peculiar punishments and punitive measures. Consider the case of the ostracism, a process where citizens could be exiled from the city-state for 10 years if they were deemed too powerful or a threat to democracy. No crime was necessary, just a simple vote. Imagine that. One day you're enjoying a symposium with friends, and the next you're packing your bags for a decade-long hiatus just because you were too influential. Travel with me now to ancient Egypt, where the Nile River wends its way through the desert, a lifeline for the civilization centered around it. The Egyptians had a strong sense of ma'at, the principle of balance and order. Their laws reflected this, focusing on harmony and justice. Yet some of their decrees might leave you scratching your head. One law, deeply rooted in superstition, prohibited citizens from speaking ill of the Nile River or its gifts. Believed to be a divine artery of the gods, any negative utterance was thought to anger the deities, incurring their wrath in the form of floods or droughts. In a society so dependent on the river's bounty, it's no wonder they tread lightly with their words. Let's journey southward to the African continent, to the Kingdom of Kush, a powerful empire that stretched along the Nile. In this vibrant civilization, women enjoyed remarkable rights and freedoms compared to their contemporaries. Yet, there were laws that perplex modern sensibilities. One such law dictated that only women could serve as warriors or rulers. The reason? It was believed that women possessed an intrinsic spiritual power that made them naturally suited for leadership and warfare. This law challenges our modern notions of gender roles and power dynamics, painting a picture of a society where women were both revered and feared. Now imagine yourself standing in the shadow of the Great Pyramids, witnessing the rigorous enforcement of these laws. The pharaohs, considered gods in human form, were the ultimate arbiters of justice. Their decrees were final, often influenced by the priests who interpreted the whims of the deities. Picture a court scene where scribes hastily record the proceedings, capturing the spoken word for eternity. It's a world where divine mandate and human law intertwine, creating an environment both orderly and unpredictable. As we travel eastward, we arrive in ancient China, a land of dynasties and philosophies. Under the reign of the Zhou dynasty, the mandate of heaven was a pivotal concept, dictating that the emperor governed by divine right. Here, one of the most peculiar laws involved the punishment of entire families for the crimes of a single member, a practice known as collective punishment. If a person was found guilty of a crime, their entire family could be held accountable, facing exile or even death. This law was meant to deter crime by instilling a sense of collective responsibility and fear, yet it also reveals the deep-seated belief in familial bonds and their influence on societal order. Finally, we arrive in the Americas, in the heart of the Incan Empire. The Incas, known for their impressive architecture and intricate society, had a unique approach to justice. The law dictated that theft was one of the gravest offenses, punishable by death. In a society where communal ownership was the norm, this severe law reinforced the importance of sharing and the collective good. Additionally, They had a curious law concerning laziness. Those deemed too idle could be punished by having their hair forcibly cut. In a culture where labor was essential for survival and prosperity, this law underscored the value placed on diligence and contribution to the community. In reflecting on these ancient laws, one can't help but marvel at the diversity and complexity of human societies throughout history. Each civilization crafted its legal systems, often blending practicality with mysticism, to maintain order and reflect their unique values and beliefs. It's a reminder of how far we've come and how these echoes of the past continue to influence our modern world. As you ponder these strange laws from ancient civilizations, take a moment to appreciate the intricate tapestry of human culture, woven across time and space. Let these stories from the past envelop you in a sense of wonder and curiosity, encouraging you to explore further into the depths of history. Awaiting continue. Peculiar codes of conduct from the cradle of civilization. Welcome back, dear viewer, to our exploration of the most unusual laws from the annals of ancient history. So far, we've journeyed through the whimsical and often bewildering world of ancient legislation, where the rules were as diverse and colorful as the societies that enacted them. Now it's time to delve deeper into the cradle of civilization itself, where the earliest recorded laws were etched onto tablets, forming the backbone of societal order. Let's unfold the scrolls of history and examine the unique regulations that governed life thousands of years ago. First, we travel to ancient Mesopotamia, the land between the rivers, where the Code of Hammurabi stands as a testament to the early attempts at justice and order. King Hammurabi of Babylon around 1754 BC devised this comprehensive set of 282 laws, covering everything from property rights to family law. While many of these laws were pragmatic and straightforward, some were rather bizarre by modern standards. For instance, Law number 196 is famously known for its principle of an eye for an eye. But deeper into the code, you'll find Law number 21, which states that if a man made a hole in another man's house, he would be put to death and buried in front of the hole he made. It's a strikingly harsh penalty, reflecting the importance of property and personal space in Babylonian society. The act of disrupting another's sanctuary was seen as a severe violation, demanding the ultimate price. From the bustling trade routes of Mesopotamia, let's head east to the Indus Valley civilization, where the ancient city of Mohenjo-Daro flourished. Although written records from this civilization are scarce, archaeological findings suggest strict regulations surrounding urban planning and personal hygiene. This civilization may have had rules akin to what we would consider public health laws today. The city featured a sophisticated drainage system, with strict stipulations on where waste could be disposed. Historians believe such regulations were mirrored by cultural taboos that strongly discouraged unsanitary practices, possibly enforced by community leaders or religious figures. Next, we'll wander through the vast expanse of ancient China during the Zhou dynasty. The rulers of this era believed in the mandate of heaven, a principle that justified the emperor's right to rule based on their virtuous conduct. The Book of Rites, a collection of texts that outlines the social norms of the time, contains a variety of peculiar laws, especially concerning familial piety and respect. One particular law dictated that if a son was aware of his father's crime and did not report it, he would not be punished, because filial duty required sons to protect their fathers at all costs. This law underscores the value placed on family hierarchy and loyalty, elevating familial bonds above the state's judicial system. Taking a leap to the vast landscapes of ancient Egypt, we uncover yet more strange legal customs. Ancient Egyptians lived under the watchful eye of Ma'at, the goddess of truth, justice, and cosmic order. The concept of Ma'at was so deeply embedded in their culture that legal proceedings often revolved around maintaining balance and harmony. One curious law was their prohibition against fishing or hunting in the Nile, as the river was considered sacred. This restriction wasn't just about conservation. It was a spiritual decree, reflecting the Egyptians' reverence for the natural world as an extension of divine will. In Greece, particularly in the city-state of Sparta, the laws were tailored to create a warrior society. The infamous Spartan law of Crypteia required young Spartan males to live in the wilderness and fend for themselves as a rite of passage. This practice was not just about survival skills. It was a law designed to toughen them physically and mentally for the rigors of Spartan life. Additionally, Spartans faced a peculiar law that discouraged them from engaging in frivolous talk or excessive display of emotion, cultivating an environment of stoic resilience. Finally, we arrive at the Roman Empire, a civilization renowned for its structured legal system. Among their many laws, the Lex Julia de Maritandis Ordinibus stands out for its peculiarities. Enacted by Augustus, this law aimed to encourage marriage and childbirth among the upper classes, imposing penalties on those who remained unmarried or childless past a certain age. This legislative attempt to control personal life choices underscores the Romans' societal emphasis on family continuity and legacy. The journey through these ancient civilizations reveals a tapestry of human thought and governance, stitched together by unique laws that reflect the values, fears, and aspirations of the societies that created them. From the ritualistic and symbolic to the pragmatic and societal, these laws not only managed the daily lives of ancient peoples, but also offer us invaluable insights into their cultures. As we reflect on these strange and fascinating codes of conduct, we are reminded of the enduring quest for balance, justice, and harmony that has shaped human civilization through the ages. Thank you for joining us on this exploration. Keep your curiosity alive, because history has more stories to tell, each as intriguing as the last. Peculiar legal practices of ancient Egypt. Welcome back, dear viewer, to our exploration of the strangest laws from ancient civilizations. After delving into the fascinating worlds of Mesopotamia and Greece, we now set our sights on the mystical and enigmatic land of ancient Egypt. Renowned for its towering pyramids, intricate hieroglyphs, and an enduring legacy that continues to captivate our imaginations, Egypt also harbored a plethora of unique and intriguing legal customs. So take a deep breath, relax, and travel with us along the banks of the Nile as we uncover the peculiar legal practices of this ancient civilization. Protecting cats and crocodiles, divine creatures of law. In ancient Egypt, animals were not just beasts of burden or sources of food. Many were considered sacred embodiments of the gods themselves. Particularly revered were cats and crocodiles. Cats, believed to be the personification of Bastet, the goddess of home, fertility, and protection, were treated with the utmost respect. Killing a cat, even accidentally, was considered a grievous offense, punishable by death. This reverence extended to all cats, regardless of status, making them protected members of society. Similarly, the crocodile, associated with the god Sobek, held a significant religious stature. Although often feared, crocodiles were also venerated and linked to the fertility of the Nile. This dual perception led to unique laws regarding their protection and care. It's fascinating to imagine a world where animals held such legal power, reminding us of the deep spiritual connection the Egyptians felt with their environment. 2. The complexities of divorce, fairness and equality. The process of divorce in ancient Egypt was notably progressive, especially when compared to other ancient cultures. Both men and women could initiate divorce, a rarity in ancient times. This equitable approach was enshrined in legal practices that ensured fairness and protection for both parties involved. When a couple decided to part ways, the division of property was handled with careful consideration for each individual's well-being. Property, money, and even beloved pets were divided in a manner that aimed to maintain both parties' standard of living. Women, in particular, were granted rights to their dowries and any property they brought into the marriage, a testament to the value placed on gender equality in this aspect of Egyptian law. Such practices highlight the Egyptians' commitment to social harmony, even in times of personal upheaval, and offer a glimpse into the respect and dignity afforded to individuals, regardless of gender. The trial of truth, ordeals, and the divine judgment. In the legal systems of ancient Egypt, the search for truth often involved divine intervention. When accusations were made and human judgment reached an impasse, it was believed that the gods themselves could reveal the truth through various ordeals. These ordeals were not only tests of physical endurance, but also acts of faith, where the innocence of the accused was left to the discretion of the divine. One such ordeal involved the use of sacred water. The accused would be submerged in the Nile, their fate left to the river's currents. If they survived, they were deemed innocent, a sign that the gods had intervened on their behalf. In another instance, a trial by hot oil required the accused to retrieve a stone from a cauldron of boiling oil. If unharmed, their innocence was proclaimed. These rituals, steeped in religious fervor and mysticism, highlight the Egyptians' unwavering belief in divine justice, a concept that permeated every layer of their society. 4. The overseeing spirits, Ma'at, and the balance of society. The concept of Ma'at, truth, balance, order, and justice, was the cornerstone of Egyptian society and law. This goddess was depicted as a woman with a feather on her head, symbolizing the lightness and purity of truth. The Egyptians believed that maintaining Ma'at was crucial for the universe's harmony, and this belief was reflected in their legal system. Judges and officials were seen as the earthly incarnations of Ma'at, tasked with upholding balance and dispensing justice. Their rulings were guided by the principles of truth and equity, and they were expected to remain impartial and incorruptible. The importance of Ma'at extended beyond the courts and into everyday life, where Egyptians strove to live in accordance with her ideals, ensuring a society rooted in fairness and integrity. The intricacies of inheritance, preserving family legacy. Another intriguing aspect of Egyptian law was the detailed approach to inheritance. Family ties were of paramount importance in ancient Egypt, and the passing of property and titles was a matter handled with meticulous care. Inheritance laws were designed to ensure that wealth and lineage remained within the family, preserving the legacy and status of each household. Interestingly, while male offspring typically inherited the bulk of the estate, women were not excluded from this process. Daughters could inherit property, especially in the absence of sons, ensuring that family assets were not lost to external parties. This inclusive approach to inheritance reflects a nuanced understanding of familial dynamics and highlights the Egyptians' desire to maintain the societal and economic fabric across generations. 6. The role of the vizier, the pharaoh's right hand in law. Central to the execution and oversight of Egyptian law was the vizier, the highest official in the land after the pharaoh. As the pharaoh's trusted advisor, the vizier was responsible for the daily administration of justice, ensuring that the laws were applied fairly and consistently. This role required immense knowledge and wisdom, as the vizier was often the last line of appeal in legal matters. The vizier's duties were extensive, encompassing everything from tax collection to overseeing public works and maintaining the intricate bureaucracy that kept the vast empire functioning smoothly. Their influence and decisions were instrumental in shaping the legal landscape, embodying the balance and fairness essential to the ethos of Ma'at. As we conclude our journey through the legal world of ancient Egypt, we hope you've enjoyed this glimpse into a civilization where laws were as much about spiritual harmony as they were about social order. The Egyptians' unique blend of religious beliefs and legal practices continues to inspire and intrigue us, offering timeless lessons on justice, equality, and the profound connection between humanity and the divine. Thank you for joining us today on this captivating expedition through history. As we prepare to explore new cultures and their legal curiosities, remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more fascinating content. Until next time, may your path be guided by the light of Ma'at. Awaiting continue. The peculiar traditions of Babylon and beyond. Welcome to our fascinating journey through the strangest laws from ancient civilizations. As you find yourself comfortably seated, perhaps with a warm cup of tea or a soft blanket, let's delve into the peculiar traditions of Babylon and the surrounding regions. Prepare to be intrigued by the unexpected ways these ancient societies structured their worlds as we uncover the layers of history that have shaped humanity's legal landscape. In the heart of Mesopotamia, where the Tigris and Euphrates rivers gently cradled early civilizations, the mighty Babylonian Empire flourished. Renowned for its impressive architectural feats and advances in written literature, Babylon was equally known for its intricate legal system. Among the most famous relics of this ancient civilization is the Code of Hammurabi, a stone stele etched with laws that govern the lives of its people. Imagine yourself wandering through the bustling streets of Babylon, with merchants calling out their wares and the scent of spices lingering in the air. As you stroll, you can't help but overhear snippets of conversation about the latest legal disputes. It seems that one of the most unusual laws on everyone's lips is the concept of trial by ordeal, a method by which one's innocence or guilt was determined not by evidence, but by survival of a daunting task. For instance, if a person was accused of witchcraft or other serious offenses, they could be thrown into the river. If they survived the ordeal, they were deemed innocent, a divine sign of protection. Picture the tension in the air as crowds gathered along the riverbanks, holding their breath in anticipation. The water's surface, calm yet ominously reflective, became a stage where fate and faith intertwined. Moving beyond Babylon, we travel to the Hittite Empire, nestled in the rugged terrain of Anatolia. This civilization, too, had its share of peculiar laws that might make you raise an eyebrow today. Among their most unusual regulations was one concerning the treatment of animals. If a man were found guilty of bestiality, he was sentenced to death. However, the law also dictated that the animal involved should be put to death as well. Imagine the solemn procession as the community gathered to witness the execution of both the guilty party and the innocent beast, a ritual underscoring the Hittites' view of moral and cosmic balance. It's a poignant reminder of how ancient societies grappled with the concept of purity and how their beliefs were often mirrored in their laws. As we venture further, the landscape shifts to the land of the pharaohs, where the grand pyramids cast long shadows over the desert sands. In ancient Egypt, the focus on the afterlife was paramount, influencing not only religious practices but also legal customs. One particularly strange law revolved around the desecration of tombs, a crime considered so heinous it warranted the severest of punishments. Imagine the solemnity of a courtroom where an accused tomb robber stood trial. To steal from the resting place of the dead was to invite a curse upon oneself, an act not only illegal but spiritually perilous. The law dictated severe penalties, often resulting in execution, as the Egyptians sought to protect the sanctity of their ancestors' eternal homes. You can almost feel the weight of tradition in the air, a society deeply intertwined with its spiritual beliefs and the desire to maintain cosmic harmony. Crossing the Mediterranean, we arrive in Greece, the cradle of Western philosophy and democracy. Yet, even this bastion of reason had its share of bizarre legal customs. One such law from the city of Athens dictated that any statue struck by a passerby who stumbled must be put on trial. Picture the scene. A marble statue, perhaps of a revered god or heroic figure, standing silently in the courtroom, an unusual defendant. The trial would involve elaborate ceremonies, with priests and legal officials debating the statue's guilt. Though no physical penalty could be imposed on the inanimate object, such trials underscored the Greeks' belief in the power of symbolic acts and the moral responsibility of even the gods' representations. It was a fascinating spectacle, blending the divine with the mundane in a legal dance that sought to appease both human logic and cosmic order. Finally, as we conclude our journey through these strange legal landscapes, we find ourselves in the Roman Empire, where the rule of law was both revered and peculiar. In Rome, a curious law known as ius osculi dictated that women were forbidden to drink wine. The penalty for breaking this law could be as severe as death. Imagine the vigilance required, as men were granted the legal right to kiss their female relatives to detect the scent of alcohol, a practice blending affection with surveillance. This law shines a light on the Roman emphasis on patriarchal control and the belief that women's chastity and sobriety were essential to family honor. It also highlights the intricate social dynamics at play, where legal customs served as both protection and restriction within the complexities of Roman society. As we reflect on these strange laws from ancient civilizations, it's remarkable to see how these legal systems, though vastly different from our own, sought to impose order, morality, and justice in their unique ways. The echoes of these laws continue to resonate through time, offering us glimpses into the minds and hearts of those who walked this earth long before us. As our exploration of these peculiar laws draws to a close, take a moment to appreciate the rich tapestry of human history. Each law, no matter how strange, tells a story of a society striving to understand itself and the world around it. We hope you've enjoyed this journey through time and look forward to uncovering more hidden gems of history with you in future episodes. Thank you for joining us today. Why? Until next time, keep your curiosity alive and continue to explore the fascinating world of the past, the peculiar customs of ancient Japan. Welcome once more to our journey through the annals of history, where we continue to uncover the most unusual laws from ancient civilizations. In this section, we are delving into the fascinating landscape of ancient Japan, a society rich in tradition and guided by a unique set of rules that will surely captivate your imagination. Imagine yourself walking the cobblestone streets of a bustling Edo period town, the air filled with the scent of incense and the chatter of merchants. It is here, among the wooden houses and vibrant markets, that we find a society governed by a distinct cultural ethos, one that prioritized order, harmony, and honor above all else. Yet within this framework existed laws that, to our modern eyes, may seem rather peculiar. The beard ban. Our journey begins with the curious case of the beard ban, a regulation that may seem trivial at first glance, but was taken quite seriously in the era of samurai and shoguns. During the Tokugawa shogunate, which spanned from the early 17th century until the mid-19th century, a clean-shaven face was not just a matter of personal grooming, but a reflection of one's adherence to law and order. This decree, implemented by the ruling shoguns, was intended to promote uniformity and discipline among their ranks, with the belief that a tidy appearance was indicative of a disciplined mind. Samurai, the warrior class of Japan, were expected to adhere strictly to this rule, as their appearance was seen as an extension of their honor and loyalty to their lords. While it may seem unusual to dictate personal grooming habits so rigorously, the beard ban served as a reminder of the weight of one's duty and the importance of presenting oneself with dignity and respect. Today, this regulation has long since disappeared, but it remains a fascinating testament to the cultural values of ancient Japan. Umbrella etiquette. Now let us drift gently into the realm of weather-related regulations, where we encounter the equally intriguing laws surrounding umbrellas. Yes, umbrellas. In ancient Japan, these handy items were bound by their own set of rules, particularly during the Edo period. During this time, umbrellas were not simply utilitarian objects, but important accessories reflecting one's social status and refinement. The laws dictated that only certain classes of people were permitted to use umbrellas made from specific materials, such as silk or oiled paper, while others were restricted to less luxurious options. Furthermore, there were clear guidelines on how to carry and handle them properly in public spaces to prevent any inadvertent displays of disrespect. For instance, raising one's umbrella too high or allowing it to drip excessively in crowded areas could be seen as an affront to those around you. Such acts could disturb the natural order and harmony that were so highly valued in Japanese society. Therefore, mastering the art of umbrella etiquette was essential for those who wished to navigate the social landscape with grace and propriety. Footwear regulations. As we continue our exploration, allow yourself to be transported to a traditional Japanese home, where the air is filled with the subtle scent of tatami mats and the soft murmur of conversation. Here we find another curious aspect of ancient Japanese law, the strict regulations surrounding footwear. In ancient Japan, the customs of entering a home were deeply intertwined with respect and cleanliness, necessitating the removal of shoes before stepping onto the sacred space of the home's interior. This practice was not simply a matter of hygiene, but a symbolic gesture of leaving the outside world behind and entering a haven of tranquility. Shoes were considered unclean, having traversed the dusty roads and muddy paths outside. Therefore, to preserve the purity of the home, it was mandatory to leave them at the entrance. Interestingly, this practice extended beyond residential spaces to include many public establishments, reinforcing the societal emphasis on cleanliness and reverence for personal and communal spaces. This custom of removing shoes has endured the passage of time and remains a significant aspect of Japanese culture today, symbolizing continuity between past and present. The Edict of Seclusion. Let us now broaden our perspective to consider an overarching law, one that shaped the entire nation and defined its interactions with the wider world, the Edict of Seclusion. This was no ordinary regulation, but a sweeping policy enacted by the Tokugawa shogunate in 1633, designed to shield Japan from the perceived threats of outside influence. Through this edict, Japan effectively closed its borders to the rest of the world, prohibiting foreign trade and interaction with few exceptions. This decision was rooted in the desire to preserve Japanese culture and prevent the spread of foreign ideologies that were seen as destabilizing. The only port open for limited trade was that of Nagasaki, where the Dutch and Chinese were allowed minimal contact under strict conditions. For over 2 centuries, this policy of seclusion, known as sakoku, maintained Japan's insularity, fostering a unique cultural and social environment that thrived on its own terms. It was not until the mid-19th century that Japan opened its doors once more, embarking on a period of rapid modernization and transformation. As we reflect on these unusual and fascinating laws, it becomes clear that the legal landscape of ancient Japan was intricately woven into the fabric of its cultural identity. These laws, while strange to our modern sensibilities, offer us a window into a world where tradition and social order reigned supreme, and where every regulation was imbued with a deeper meaning. Thank you for joining us on this captivating exploration of the strangest laws from ancient Japan. As always, we hope this journey has ignited your curiosity and provided a moment of relaxation and reflection. Until our next adventure through history, take care and stay curious. Awaiting the curious codes of ancient China and Mesopotamia. Welcome back, dear viewer, to this journey through time, as we unravel the peculiar tapestry of laws that shaped ancient societies. So far, we've traversed the lands of Egypt, Greece, and Rome, each revealing its own fascinating legal quirks. Now we delve into the mysterious East, where the ancient civilizations of China and Mesopotamia laid down some of the most intriguing legal frameworks of their time. Picture yourself in the vast, bustling landscapes of ancient Mesopotamia, where the Tigris and Euphrates rivers cradled the cradle of civilization. Here, the Code of Hammurabi, one of the world's oldest deciphered writings, was etched into stone. This code wasn't just a collection of laws, it was a reflection of the values and priorities of a society that sought order amidst rapid development and complexity. One of the most curious aspects of the Code of Hammurabi was its notion of lex talionis, or the law of retaliation, often summarized as an eye for an eye. However, the code's application extended beyond physical retribution to include a variety of bizarre and specific edicts. For instance, if a builder constructed a house that collapsed and killed the owner, the builder could be put to death. Even if the collapse claimed the life of the owner's child, the builder's own child might be executed in retribution, highlighting the code's harsh and often familial approach to justice. Shifting your gaze toward the east, imagine the bustling marketplaces and serene temples of ancient China. During the Zhou dynasty, a complex system of laws was in place, underpinned by the philosophy of Confucianism, which emphasized moral integrity and social harmony. This period gave birth to uniquely stringent laws surrounding family structures and filial piety. In ancient China, the family was the bedrock of society, and any disruption to its harmony was met with severe consequences. One of the strangest laws involved the concept of paternal power, granting patriarchs significant control over their family members. Fathers could even sell their children into slavery under certain circumstances, an act that seems harsh today, but was seen as a practical solution in troubled times. Another interesting facet of ancient Chinese law was the emphasis on communal responsibility. If a crime was committed, not only the perpetrator but sometimes entire families or even villages could be held accountable. This concept of collective punishment was intended to maintain social order, encouraging communities to police themselves and discourage unlawful behavior. Traveling back to Mesopotamia, let us explore the laws governing the supernatural, a realm where the mortal and mystical often intertwined. The Mesopotamians held profound beliefs in omens and the influence of spirits, which were reflected in their legal codes. There were specific regulations about handling witchcraft and dealing with sorcery, both of which were taken very seriously. For example, if someone accused another of practicing witchcraft, the accused had to undergo a trial by ordeal. This could involve being thrown into a river. If they floated, it was believed that the gods had deemed them innocent. If they sank, however, their guilt was assumed, which to our modern sensibilities seems an unfortunate method of adjudication. Now let's wander back to ancient China, where the legal system under the Qin dynasty introduced some of the harshest penalties known to the ancient world. The Qin rulers were known for their draconian measures, implementing laws that could be deemed extremely severe by today's standards. For instance, the practice of tattooing criminals as a form of permanent stigmatization was common, marking them as offenders for life. Perhaps one of the most unusual laws was related to bureaucracy and governance. Officials were held to rigorous standards, with any failure to meet quotas or administrative duties leading to severe punishments, including execution. This reflects a society deeply invested in the order and efficiency of its civil servitude, where the cost of negligence was steep. As we stitch together these diverse legal codes, the intertwining themes of retribution, familial power dynamics, supernatural beliefs, and rigorous governance begin to reveal a vivid tapestry of ancient culture. Each law, no matter how strange, offers us a glimpse into the priorities and anxieties of these ancient civilizations. The laws of ancient China and Mesopotamia remind us that legal systems throughout history have served not just to maintain order, but also to reflect and enforce the cultural and moral values of the time. They stand as a testament to humanity's constant quest for justice, however different from our modern interpretations it may seem. And so, dear viewer, as the sun sets on yet another chapter of this journey through the strangest laws from ancient civilizations, we find ourselves enriched with new perspectives and a deeper understanding of the world that once was. Stay tuned for our next section, where we will continue to explore the fascinating intricacies of laws from the distant past. The curious laws of ancient Greece. Welcome to another chapter in our journey through the maze of history's most peculiar laws. Today we find ourselves amidst the sun-drenched landscapes and rich cultural tapestry of ancient Greece. The cradle of Western civilization, ancient Greece is renowned for its philosophers, its art, and its forward-thinking ideas. Yet, among the wisdom and wonder, there lay a series of laws that might raise an eyebrow or two. So sit back, find a comfortable spot, and let us together explore the curious legal curiosities of ancient Greece. Imagine yourself strolling through an agora, the bustling heart of a city-state, where philosophers debate under shaded colonnades, artisans peddle their wares, and citizens engage in the democratic process. Democracy, indeed, was one of the most notable contributions of ancient Greece, particularly in Athens. However, with democracy came a set of laws that, to the modern observer, might seem rather peculiar. Take, for instance, the law that penalized citizens for not taking sides during periods of civil strife. Known as the law of ostracism, this rule essentially mandated participation in the political life of the city. Those who remained neutral during political disputes were often viewed with suspicion and could even be ostracized or exiled for a period of 10 years. It was a reflection of the belief that civic involvement was not just a right, but a duty. Now let's shift our focus to the realm of personal behavior, where the laws could be equally as perplexing. The Spartans, known for their military prowess and austere lifestyle, had laws that strictly regulated the lives of their citizens. From a young age, Spartan boys were subjected to the agoge, a rigorous state-sponsored education and training regimen. It was designed to instill discipline, endurance, and martial skills. What's particularly curious was the Spartan law concerning theft. Young Spartans were encouraged to steal food as a test of cunning and resourcefulness. However, if caught, the punishment was severe, not for the act of stealing, but for being caught. This unusual law was less about morality and more about honing survival skills, emphasizing stealth and agility, traits deemed essential for a successful Spartan warrior. Let's pause for a moment, take a deep breath, and soak in the serenity of this landscape. The soft murmur of history whispers around us as we journey deeper into the annals of time. Our next stop is the enigmatic city of Athens, where we encounter a law centered around olive trees. In ancient Greece, the olive tree was not just a source of food and oil, It was considered sacred, particularly those believed to have been planted by the goddess Athena herself. Athenian law was so stringent that damaging or uprooting an olive tree could result in severe penalties. The protection of these trees highlights the deep respect and symbolic significance they held in Greek culture, reflecting the intertwining of agricultural wealth and religious reverence. In the realm of family life, we uncover another fascinating legal requirement. In Athens, it was once required by law for sons to provide financial support to their retired fathers, but only if the father had fulfilled his duty of teaching his sons a trade. This law was a unique blend of filial piety and practicality, emphasizing the reciprocal nature of the parent-child relationship and ensuring that the skills needed for self-sufficiency were passed from one generation to the next. As our exploration continues, we find ourselves amidst the vibrant and theatrical world of Greek drama. Theatrical performances were not just entertainment. They were considered vital to the moral and educational fabric of society. In fact, attending the theater was seen as a civic duty. During the festival of Dionysia, when new plays were premiered, it was mandatory for citizens to attend the performances. This law underscores the value placed on drama as a means of education, catharsis, and communal experience. Let us now turn our attention to the realm of commerce and economics. The Greeks had a unique approach to currency, particularly in the city-state of Athens. At one point, the use of foreign coins was prohibited. The Athenians minted their own distinctive coins, known as owls, which bore the image of Athena, their patron goddess, and her symbolic owl. This law ensured the uniformity of currency within the city-state and underscored the economic independence of Athens. The strict regulation of currency exchange, coupled with the symbolic imagery, reflects the intricate connection between economy, identity, and cultural pride. Our exploration would not be complete without a glimpse into the legalities surrounding ancient Greek religion. The Greeks had a pantheon of deities, each with their own domains and influence. Laws concerning religious observance were numerous and varied. For instance, it was illegal to question the existence of the gods or to introduce new deities without the approval of the state. This law is perhaps best illustrated by the trial of Socrates, who was accused of impiety and corrupting the youth by introducing new gods and questioning traditional beliefs. The trial and subsequent execution of Socrates highlight the tension between free thought and religious orthodoxy, a dialogue that echoes through the corridors of time. As we draw this section to a close, let's take a moment to reflect on the tapestry of laws we've uncovered. From the demands of political participation to the veneration of sacred trees, from the peculiarities of Spartan training to the economic safeguards of Athenian currency, ancient Greece offers a fascinating glimpse into a world where laws were as diverse as they were foundational. Each law, with its own rationale and context, paints a vivid picture of a society striving to balance order with freedom, tradition with innovation. Thank you for joining us on this captivating journey through the labyrinth of Greek legal history. As always, we hope this glimpse into the past has sparked a sense of wonder and curiosity within you. Until our paths cross again in the annals of history, take care and savor the mysteries of times long past, the peculiarities of Minoan and Etruscan jurisprudence. Welcome back to our journey through the mystifying legal landscapes of ancient civilizations. In this section, we'll delve into the intricacies of the Minoans and the Etruscans, two cultures known for their unique contributions to the tapestry of ancient law. So, settle into your favorite comfy chair, perhaps light a candle, and let us transport you back in time. Our first stop takes us to the captivating island of Crete, where the Minoans flourished from approximately 2600 to 1100 BCE. The Minoans are largely remembered for their grand architecture, such as the palatial complex of Knossos and their intricate art, but they also had some rather unusual laws that tell us much about their society. One particularly intriguing aspect of Minoan law was their emphasis on communal living and resource sharing. Minoans practiced a form of communal property that was quite advanced for their time. This was not simply a matter of sharing land or goods. It was a deeply embedded cultural norm that extended to agricultural produce and household items. This legal framework promoted a strong sense of community and mutual dependence, ensuring that resources were distributed according to need, rather than wealth or status. Imagine a world where the harvest was celebrated with a festival that saw every family receiving their fair share, a far cry from the competitive marketplaces of later civilizations. Moving on, the Minoans also held a curious belief in the sanctity of the bull, which was central to their religion and, by extension, their legal system. Bulls were considered sacred, and harming one was a grievous offense. This reverence is most famously depicted in their frescoes, showing the practice of bull leaping, a perilous yet ceremonial sport. The penalty for injuring a bull, intentionally or accidentally, was severe and often involved compensatory offerings to the deities or even ritual purification ceremonies to atone for the sin. Now let's journey northward to the enigmatic Etruscans, who thrived in what is now modern-day Italy before the rise of the Roman Empire. The Etruscans are known for their influence on Roman culture, from architecture to religious practices, but their legal system also stands out for its distinctive features. The Etruscans had a fascinating approach to the afterlife, which was intricately tied to their legal practices. This ancient civilization believed that the dead had rights that the living were obliged to respect. Grave robbing was not only a criminal offense but was also seen as a spiritual violation. The Etruscans had a complex legal apparatus to deal with such transgressions, ensuring that tombs were protected and that the deceased could rest peacefully. If someone was caught desecrating a grave, they faced not only legal penalties, but were also believed to incur the wrath of the spirits. Moreover, the Etruscans placed significant emphasis on the interpretation of omens and the reading of entrails, a practice known as haruspicy. Important legal and political decisions often hinged on the predictions and advice of haruspices, priestly figures who interpreted the will of the gods. This practice illustrates how law and religion were deeply intertwined in Etruscan society. Decisions as mundane as property disputes or as crucial as declarations of war could be swayed by the supposed messages from the divine, as discerned through these rituals. Interestingly, the Etruscans were also pioneers in establishing laws surrounding women's rights, which were somewhat progressive compared to their contemporaries. Etruscan women had a higher degree of autonomy and were allowed to own property independently, initiate divorce, and participate in social and religious life. These rights were enshrined in laws that offered women protections unheard of in many other ancient societies, particularly within the context of familial and economic matters. As we delve further into the peculiarities of Minoan and Etruscan laws, one can't help but marvel at how these ancient societies balance the spiritual, communal, and legal aspects of life. Their laws, though strange by today's standards, provide a window into their values and priorities, highlighting the diversity of human societies across time. Imagine strolling through a bustling Minoan marketplace, where fairness and equity govern the distribution of goods, or watching an Etruscan haruspex solemnly interpret the future through the entrails of a sacrificial animal. These vivid images of the past remind us that while civilizations may come and go, the quest for justice in its many forms is a timeless pursuit. As we conclude this section, let the stories of the Minoans and Etruscans remind you of the endless variety in how societies have sought to order the world around them. From sacred bulls to graves protected by law, these ancient legal systems offer rich insights into humanity's enduring journey through history. Stay with us as we continue to explore the oddities and wonders of ancient legal codes in our next sections. Until then, may your curiosity be your guide as you wander through the annals of time. Awaiting continue. Ancient India's untranslatable justice. Welcome, fellow explorers of antiquity, to another remarkable segment of our journey through the labyrinth of ancient laws. Today, we embark on an exploration of India, a land bound by the divine intricacies of its spirituality and philosophy. Within the annals of its ancient civilizations, we uncover a tapestry of laws that are as intriguing as they are enigmatic. So settle into your comfiest chair, perhaps with a steaming cup of herbal tea by your side, as we delve into the untranslatable justice of ancient India. India's rich historical narrative is woven with the wisdom of texts like the Manusmriti, or the Laws of Manu, which was one of the earliest collections of laws in Indian history. These laws formed the basis of what was considered dharma, or the moral order, and were as much about social order as they were about spiritual elevation. One of the most fascinating aspects of the Manusmriti is its emphasis on the concept of varna, or class. Unlike the rigid caste systems that would later define Indian society, the ancient interpretation of varna was fluid and at times surprisingly progressive. The laws stated that a person's varna was determined by their attributes and actions rather than just birth, an idea that, though revolutionary for its time, was often lost in translation over the centuries. Take, for instance, the intricate laws surrounding property and inheritance. The Manusmriti laid out a system that, while patriarchal, acknowledged the agency of women in certain cases. Widows, for instance, were entitled to their husband's property, a provision that underscored a nuanced understanding of familial roles and responsibilities. This law was emblematic of a society that was trying, in its own way, to balance tradition with a sense of nascent equity. Moving beyond the Manusmriti, another ancient text, the Arthashastra, offers an intriguing glimpse into the governance and judicial practices of the time. Authored by the sage Kautilya, also known as Chanakya, this treatise is a masterclass in realpolitik, blending Machiavellian strategy with astute statecraft. The Arthashastra laid down rules for espionage, diplomacy, and even economic management, all underscored by a practical approach to law and order. One of the most curious laws from the Arthashastra involves the regulation of markets and trade. Kautilya advocated for the establishment of a sophisticated network of state-controlled marketplaces, each with designated officials to ensure fairness and prevent fraud. These officials, called adyakshas, were entrusted with maintaining quality control, setting prices, and even mediating disputes between merchants, a testament to the ancient Indian obsession with fairness in commerce. As we continue to peel back the layers of ancient Indian jurisprudence, we encounter the complex relationship between law and spirituality, an aspect that is especially prevalent in the Dharma Sutras. These texts, predating even the Manusmriti, offer a glimpse into a world where law, morality, and religion were inextricably linked. The guiding principle here was karma, the cosmic law of cause and effect, which dictated the moral consequences of one's actions. In the Dharma Sutras, we find references to the ritual of prayashchitta, or atonement. This was a form of penance prescribed for various transgressions, ranging from minor infractions to grave sins. The belief was that by undergoing prayashchitta, an individual could purify their soul and negate the negative karma accumulated through their actions. The concept of atonement here is far from punitive. Rather, it is introspective, focusing on personal growth and spiritual redemption. Let's take a moment to consider the implications of such a system. Imagine living in a society where the pursuit of justice was not merely about punishment, but about genuine transformation, a society that prioritized the healing of the soul alongside the reparation of wrongs. It's a perspective that, while ancient, resonates deeply with modern ideals of restorative justice. And then there's the intriguing concept of Swayamvara, a practice that not only highlights the agency of women in ancient India, but also reflects the interplay between law and personal choice. In a Swayamvara, a woman of royal or noble birth could choose her husband from a gathering of eligible suitors. The ritual was often marked by grand ceremonies and competitions, where suitors would demonstrate their prowess, intellect, or artistry. Through Swayamvara, women exercised a degree of autonomy that was rare in many contemporary cultures, underscoring a societal acknowledgement, however limited, of individual choice. As we draw this exploration to a close, it's evident that the strangest laws from ancient India are not merely historical artifacts. They are windows into a civilization that grappled with the same questions of justice, morality, and duty that we face today. They reveal a society striving to balance the demands of order with the imperatives of compassion, a society where law was not just a tool for governance, but a path to enlightenment. So, as you close this chapter of our journey, take with you the understanding that the strangest laws are often those that challenge our perceptions, inviting us to see beyond the surface and into the profound depths of human aspiration. Until next time, stay curious, stay inspired, and remember, the past whispers secrets that can illuminate our path forward. Intriguing maritime mandates of ancient Greece. Welcome, dear explorer, to another captivating segment of our journey into the peculiar and fascinating world of ancient laws. Today we set sail into the azure waves of the ancient Greek world, a civilization known not only for its philosophers and epic poets, but also for its unique maritime mandates. As you settle into a cozy nook, perhaps wrapped in a soft blanket with a warm cup of tea, allow your mind to drift back to a time when the sea was both a friend and a formidable foe, shaping the lives and laws of those who dared to navigate its vastness. In the bustling city-states of ancient Greece, maritime prowess was synonymous with power. To ensure the safety and efficiency of their naval enterprises, the Greeks devised a series of laws that, to us today, may seem as enigmatic as the siren's song. 1. Imagine a sleek trireme slicing through the sparkling Aegean Sea, its 3 rows of oarsmen working in perfect harmony. In ancient Athens, a law dictated that each oarsman had his designated oar, and woe betide anyone caught using another's. This law was born not only out of practicality, preventing chaos during battle maneuvers, but also from a deep sense of respect for one's tools. Each oar was a trusted companion, its grooves and weight familiar to the hands that guided it. 2. The sacredness of shipwrecks. In our modern age, shipwrecks are often seen as treasures waiting to be discovered. However, in ancient Greece, a different attitude prevailed. The Greeks regarded shipwrecks as sacred sites, and laws were in place to protect them. It was forbidden to plunder a wreck, as these sites were considered under the domain of the sea gods, particularly Poseidon. Disturbing the wreck was seen as inviting the wrath of the deities, a risk few were willing to take. 3. Punishment for poor navigation. Navigation in the ancient world was an art form, requiring skill and courage. The Greeks were acutely aware of the dangers of the sea, and as such, captains who failed in their duty, whether through negligence or incompetence, faced severe consequences. If a ship was lost due to poor navigation, the captain could be subjected to public shaming, fines, or even imprisonment, depending on the severity of the incident. This law served as a stern reminder of the serious responsibility borne by those at the helm. 4. The Festival of Poseidon. The sea was central to Greek life, and no god was more revered by sailors than Poseidon. To ensure his favor, an annual festival was held, known as the Isthmian Games. While these games were primarily athletic, involving contests of strength and skill, they also included rituals and sacrifices to honor Poseidon. Participation in these events was considered a sacred duty, and failure to observe them could lead to societal ostracism. This law reinforced the importance of divine patronage in maritime success. Protection of rear's wives. The life of a sailor was perilous, and with long voyages came long separations. The Greeks, understanding the strain this could place on families, enacted laws to protect the wives of seafarers. These laws ensured that any property or wealth accrued by the sailor during his travels would be safeguarded for his family's benefit. This legal protection provided some measure of security and peace of mind to those left ashore, fostering a sense of community and support. 6. Harbor fees and trade regulations. Ancient Greek harbors buzzed with activity, serving as vital hubs of trade and commerce. To maintain order and fairness, a series of laws governed the fees and trade practices within these bustling ports. Merchants were required to declare their goods accurately, and strict penalties were imposed for smuggling or deceitful trading practices. These regulations ensured the prosperity of the city-state and maintained harmony among the various trading nations. As we relax into the soothing rhythm of these ancient maritime laws, it's easy to see how deeply intertwined the Greeks were with the sea. Their laws reflect a profound respect for the ocean's power and mystery, a recognition of its role as both a provider and a destroyer. Take a moment now to breathe in deeply, imagining the salty sea air filling your lungs, the gentle rocking of the waves beneath your feet. Picture yourself aboard one of those ancient ships, the sun setting in the horizon, casting a golden glow over the endless expanse of water. It's a moment of tranquility, a reminder of the delicate dance between human ambition and the untamable forces of nature. As we conclude our exploration of these maritime mandates, let us carry with us the wisdom of the ancients. Their laws, though strange to modern sensibilities, offer insights into a world where humans sought to coexist with the mighty sea, respecting its dangers while reveling in its opportunities. We hope you've enjoyed this voyage through the legal landscapes of ancient Greece. Stay with us as we continue to uncover more peculiar laws from the annals of history. Until next time, keep your curiosity vast as the ocean and your spirit as adventurous as the sailors of old. Mesopotamia's peculiarities. Welcome back to the exploration of the strangest laws from ancient civilizations. In this section, we'll be diving into the intriguing world of Mesopotamia, a region often dubbed the cradle of civilization. Known for its contributions to writing, urban planning, and astronomy, Mesopotamia was also home to some truly remarkable laws that might leave you scratching your head. So, get comfortable, perhaps with a cup of tea or your favorite cozy blanket, as we journey into the heart of ancient Near Eastern legal peculiarities. Mesopotamia, specifically the ancient city-states like Babylon and Sumer, is well known for the Code of Hammurabi, one of the earliest and most complete written legal codes. But beyond the famous eye for an eye principle, there are lesser-known laws that reveal much about Mesopotamian society's values and priorities. One of the more unusual decrees is the law related to water theft. In a region where water was a precious and often scarce resource, the regulation against water theft was severe. If a person was caught stealing water from a canal, they could be punished by having their fields flooded. This punishment was not just about retribution, but also a symbolic act to cleanse the offense with the very element that was violated. In ancient Babylon, property rights and commerce were heavily legislated, which brings us to another fascinating aspect of their legal system: the laws concerning taverns and brewing. The Mesopotamians loved their beer, which was considered a staple of the daily diet, consumed through straws from large communal pots. It was so integral to society that tavern keepers, many of whom were women, had strict rules to follow. Should a tavern owner dilute beer or shortchange customers, they faced harsh penalties, including drowning. This regulation underscores the importance of trust and fairness in trade, ensuring that the community's social bonds were not undermined by dishonest practices. Moving forward, let's explore the curious norms surrounding medical malpractice. In an era when medical knowledge was limited, and physicians could be as much sorcerers as healers, the laws regarding medical practice were stringent. If a surgeon performed a procedure and the patient died, or if the surgeon caused the patient to lose an eye, the penalty could be severe, sometimes as extreme as cutting off the surgeon's hands. This law might seem draconian by today's standards, but it reflects an early attempt to balance risk and accountability in one of humanity's earliest attempts at organized healthcare. Marriage and family law in Mesopotamia also carried its own set of intriguing rules. For instance, if a man wanted to disinherit his son, he had to do so twice, meaning he had to publicly disown his son on two separate occasions before the law would recognize the action. This law was likely intended to prevent impulsive decisions and to preserve family stability, emphasizing the importance of careful consideration in matters affecting familial relationships. Another peculiar law dealt with the punishment for theft based on the type of property stolen. For example, stealing a temple or palace slave could result in death, whereas other types of theft might incur lesser penalties. This differentiation highlights the hierarchical value placed on property and individuals in Mesopotamian society, revealing a complex social structure where the sanctity of religious and state entities was paramount. In terms of personal rights, there was a law that allowed for a form of divorce initiated by women, which was relatively progressive for its time. A woman could present a case to leave her husband if she could prove ill treatment or neglect. If successful, she would be granted her dowry back, allowing her a degree of economic independence. This law indicates that while patriarchal norms were prevalent, there were pathways for women to seek justice and reclaim agency over their lives. Finally, let's touch on a law governing the leasing of oxen, which were vital for agricultural work. If a person rented an ox and accidentally killed it, they had to compensate the owner with a new ox of equal value. However, if it died due to the owner's negligence, the lessee was absolved of responsibility. This rule not only underscores the cooperative spirit necessary for agrarian success, but also serves as an early instance of liability law, balancing personal accountability with equitable treatment. As we reflect on these laws, it's clear that Mesopotamian legal codes were not just about maintaining order, but also about cultivating a community ethos, balancing justice with societal norms. These laws provide a window into the everyday lives of the people, their struggles, priorities, and the shared cultural values that bound them together. Let these ancient principles inspire you as you ponder the intricate dance of human society through time. When viewed through the lens of their own era, these laws reveal the universal human quest for fairness, and community, a quest that continues to resonate today. Thank you for joining us on this fascinating journey. As always, I hope you find peace and curiosity in these stories from the past. Until we meet again in our next exploration, take care of yourself and find wonder in the world around you. The legal oddities of the Inca Empire. Welcome, dear viewer, to yet another fascinating segment in our series exploring the strangest laws from ancient civilizations. Today, we journey to the breathtaking heights of the Andes and delve deep into the heart of the Inca Empire. Known for their sophisticated societal structures and incredible architectural feats, the Incas also had a legal system that was as unique as it was efficient. Join me as we unravel some of the most peculiar laws and regulations from this vast and mighty civilization. Imagine standing amid the towering mountains, the air crisp and thin, the landscape dotted with terraced fields and bustling communities. Here, in this cradle of civilization, the Incas crafted a legal framework that was intricately woven into the very fabric of their society. Laws were not merely rules written in stone. They were living principles that guided the daily lives of the people. One of the most curious aspects of Inca law was its focus on labor. In the Inca Empire, work was not just a necessity, it was a sacred duty. A law that might seem strange to us today was the requirement for every citizen to contribute to communal labor projects, known as mita. This was not just an expectation, it was a legal obligation. The elaborate network of roads, the agricultural terraces, and the grand architecture that we admire today were built through this system of shared labor. The Incas believed that everyone had a role to play in the prosperity of the community. Interestingly, failure to participate in these communal projects was considered a legal offense and could result in severe punishment. This might include not only a stern reprimand, but also the potential for harsher penalties, such as the confiscation of property or even exile. The emphasis here was on ensuring that everyone contributed to the collective well-being. Another fascinating aspect of Inca law was the importance placed on truthfulness. The Incas valued honesty to such a degree that lying was one of the most serious offenses one could commit. This extended to all facets of life, from personal interactions to official matters. A lie, no matter how small, was seen as a threat to the social order. The punishment for lying was severe, often involving harsh penalties that served as a deterrent to others. The Incas understood that trust was the bedrock of their society, and they went to great lengths to preserve it. In our exploration of Inca legal practices, we encounter the concept of ailu. The ailu was a traditional form of community in the Andes, and it functioned much like an extended family unit. The laws within an ailu were designed to maintain harmony and ensure mutual support among its members. Disputes within the ailu were settled communally, with an emphasis on reconciliation and the restoration of balance. This approach reflects a deep-seated cultural value that prioritized collective well-being over individual grievances. Perhaps one of the most surprising aspects of Inca law was their approach to crime and punishment. Unlike many other ancient civilizations, the Incas did not have prisons. Instead, justice was swift, and penalties were designed to be both punitive and rehabilitative. For serious crimes such as murder, the punishment could be as severe as execution. However, for lesser offenses, the focus was often on restorative justice. Offenders might be required to make reparations to their victims or perform additional labor for the community. The absence of a prison system might seem unconventional, but it underscored the Inca belief in maintaining harmony and order through swift and decisive action. The emphasis was always on the well-being of the community, rather than prolonged punishment. Another intriguing facet of Inca law was their use of corporal punishment. For offenses that disrupted social harmony but were not deemed severe enough to warrant execution, public corporal punishment was often the chosen course of action. This served a dual purpose. It was both a deterrent to others and a form of public shaming that encouraged the offender to reintegrate into society by making amends. And then there's the matter of inheritance laws. The Incas had a unique approach to inheritance, which was governed by stringent legal codes. Upon a person's death, their property was divided among their descendants, with precise rules ensuring that each family member received a fair share. However, this division was not always equal. The emphasis was on maintaining the family's overall prosperity and stability. Inca law also extended its reach to the spiritual realm. The Incas believed that maintaining a harmonious relationship with the gods was crucial for the well-being of the community. To this end, they instituted laws that mandated religious observance and participation in rituals. The failure to perform these sacred duties was not just seen as a personal failing, but as a legal transgression that could bring misfortune to the entire community. As we reflect on these laws, it becomes clear that the Inca legal system was intrinsically linked to their worldview. The Incas saw the universe as a delicate balance of forces, and their laws were designed to maintain this balance. The emphasis on communal work, truthfulness, and spiritual observance speaks to a society deeply committed to the principles of harmony and collective responsibility. Our journey through the legal intricacies of the Inca Empire reveals a civilization that, despite its alien nature to modern sensibilities, was remarkably advanced in its understanding of social order and justice. The Incas crafted a legal system that was not only about enforcing rules, but about nurturing a thriving and interconnected community. It's a testament to the enduring legacy of the Inca civilization and a fascinating chapter in the annals of legal history. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of the strangest laws from the Inca Empire. Stay tuned as we continue our journey through the captivating world of ancient legal systems. Until next time, may curiosity guide your path and knowledge light your way. Peculiar practices of the Byzantine Empire. Welcome back, dear viewer, as we continue our fascinating journey through the annals of history, uncovering the odd and bewildering laws that ancient civilizations once lived by. In this section, we will delve into the intricate tapestry of the Byzantine Empire, a civilization renowned for its grandeur and complexity, yet also for its peculiar legal practices that reflect a world both familiar and foreign to us today. The Byzantine Empire, a continuation of the Roman Empire in the East, thrived for over a millennium, blending Roman law with Greek culture and Christian doctrine. Its legal system was a fascinating amalgam of tradition, innovation, and sometimes perplexing peculiarities. As you sit back in your comfy chair, allow yourself to be transported to a time where law and religion intertwined in unexpected ways. Picture yourself standing in the bustling city of Constantinople, the heart of the Byzantine Empire. The marketplace is abuzz with merchants selling spices and silks, while scholars debate fervently in the shadow of the Hagia Sophia. Amidst this vibrant setting, imagine navigating a legal system that was as elaborate as the mosaics adorning the city's grandest churches. One of the first curious laws we encounter is related to the Byzantine approach to punishment. While many societies of the time favored capital punishment, the Byzantines often opted for more inventive methods of dealing with criminals. Emphasizing deterrence over destruction, Byzantine law frequently resorted to blinding as a punishment for high-level crimes, especially for those who threatened the state. This not only incapacitated individuals without shedding blood, but also served as a stark reminder of the empire's absolute power. The Byzantine penchant for non-lethal yet permanent punishments is a testament to their intricate balance between justice and mercy. Now imagine yourself listening to the whispers of court officials as they discuss the Byzantine legal concept of ekloga, introduced in the 8th century. This legal code simplified the complexities of Roman law and introduced new elements reflecting Christian morality. Unique among its provisions was the law concerning divorce. Unlike many contemporary societies, Byzantines allowed for divorce under several circumstances, including mutual consent, impotence, and even abandonment. This progressive stance on marital dissolution offered a glimpse into the evolving perception of personal relationships within Byzantine society. As you wander through the halls of Byzantine jurisprudence, you encounter yet another intriguing aspect, the role of animals in the legal system. In a peculiar twist, the Byzantines occasionally subjected animals to trials, a practice rooted in earlier Roman and Greek traditions. Animals, especially those that had caused harm or death, were tried in court, and if found guilty, were punished accordingly. This bizarre legal principle, restful, acted a broader belief in accountability, extending even to the natural world, and emphasized the Byzantine view of maintaining cosmic order. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine the solemnity of a Byzantine court where such trials might have occurred. Picture the judge, draped in ornate robes, pronouncing judgment over a startled goat or a bewildered dog, an echo of the era's intricate dance between superstition and law. Moving forward, we uncover the fascinating Byzantine approach to medicine and its regulation. In a society where religion and medicine were deeply intertwined, the Byzantines imposed strict laws on medical practitioners. Physicians were required to obtain licenses and were held to rigorous standards, reflecting the empire's commitment to public welfare and the high regard in which medical knowledge was held. The Byzantine emphasis on medical ethics and accountability resonates with our modern understanding of healthcare as a public trust. As our exploration continues, imagine yourself in the presence of Byzantine artisans who were subject to their own set of unique regulations. The empire, keen on protecting its economic interests, enacted laws to maintain quality and prevent fraud. Artisans and merchants were closely monitored to ensure the integrity of their goods. Such regulations ensured that the vibrant markets of Constantinople remained a hub of legitimate commerce, attracting traders from across the known world. One cannot discuss Byzantine law without touching upon its intriguing stance on property rights and inheritance. Picture yourself as a Byzantine citizen, navigating a system where property could be left to both sons and daughters, a progressive move for the time. This approach not only enhanced the status of women in society, but also reinforced the Byzantine belief in familial harmony and continuity. In the twilight of our journey through Byzantine law, we find ourselves contemplating the empire's legacy. The Byzantine legal system was a mosaic of tradition and progressive thought, reflecting a civilization striving to balance faith, order, and innovation. Its peculiar laws serve as a window into a world that, despite its strangeness, often mirrors our own in its quest for justice and societal order. As we bring this section to a close, imagine the bustling streets of Constantinople one last time, alive with the echoes of its past. The Byzantine Empire, with its strange and fascinating laws, continues to captivate our imagination, reminding us of the complex tapestry of human history. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the Byzantine Empire's legal curiosities. As always, your presence enriches this exploration into the past. Stay tuned for our next segment, where we will uncover even more of history's strangest laws, the peculiar provisions of prehistoric Persia. Welcome back, dear viewers, to yet another fascinating segment of our journey through the peculiar annals of ancient jurisprudence. Today, we are diving into the enigmatic world of ancient Persia, where the laws were as vast and varied as the empire itself. Prepare to unravel the threads of time as we explore some of the most bizarre and intriguing edicts that governed the lives of the ancient Persians. Imagine yourself wandering the grand halls of Persepolis, the dazzling capital of the Achaemenid Empire, where stone reliefs whisper tales of kings and conquests. Yet, beyond the splendor and might, a labyrinthine legal system was at play, designed to maintain order across the empire's diverse populace. The law of hospitality. Our first stop on this journey is a law that speaks volumes about the values of ancient Persian society. The law of hospitality. In this ancient civilization, the act of welcoming a stranger into your home was not just a cultural norm, but a legal obligation. The Persians believed in the sanctity of hospitality so fervently that refusing shelter or sustenance to a traveler was considered a grievous offense, punishable by law. This edict ensured that the sprawling empire, which stretched from the Indus Valley to the Balkans, remained interconnected by a web of kindness and generosity. Consider for a moment the warmth of a Persian home, where the aroma of spiced stews and freshly baked bread wafts through the air. The law mandated that a guest must be treated with the utmost respect and care, offered the best of what the household could provide. This obligation extended to the point where a host could be penalized if their hospitality did not meet the high standards set by the empire. Imagine the ancient travelers, weary from their journeys, finding solace in this legal assurance of welcome and warmth. The art of silence. Next, we delve into a regulation that governed not actions but words. Ancient Persians placed a high value on the art of silence. There existed a peculiar law that dictated silence must be maintained during certain communal gatherings and religious rituals. Speaking out of turn or disrupting the sacred silence was more than a mere social faux pas. It was an act punishable by fines or even corporal punishment. This reverence for silence was rooted in the Zoroastrian belief system, which emphasized the purity and sanctity of words. In this light, silence was not just absence, but a presence, an active state of being that allowed for reflection and communion with the divine. Picture yourself in a grand hall, where the silence speaks louder than words, echoing the profound respect the ancient Persians held for the power of speech. The water contracts. Water, the lifeblood of any civilization, held particular significance in the arid lands of Persia. The ancient Persians devised a unique set of laws known as the water contracts, which meticulously regulated the use and distribution of water resources. These contracts were binding agreements, often inscribed on clay tablets, detailing the rights and responsibilities of individuals and communities regarding the access and management of water from qanats, ingenious underground channels that transported water from distant mountains to arid plains. Visualize the dedication required to maintain these lifelines of the empire. The water contracts ensured that every drop was accounted for, and failure to adhere to these regulations could result in severe penalties, including fines or confiscation of land. By weaving such detailed and strict provisions, the ancient Persians safeguarded their most precious resource, sustaining both their agricultural abundance and their sprawling cities. The sacred fire law. Fire, considered sacred in Zoroastrianism, was central to Persian religious practices. The sacred fire law dictated stringent measures for the protection and maintenance of eternal fires, which burned continuously in temples. The responsibility of tending to these flames was not taken lightly. A breach in duty could lead to severe consequences, including exile or execution. Imagine the flickering light of these sacred fires, casting dancing shadows on the temple walls, their care entrusted only to the most devout. This law underscored the profound spiritual significance the Persians attached to fire, viewing it as a symbol of purity and a bridge between the mortal and the divine realms. Through this legal framework, they ensured that the flames of faith were never extinguished, illuminating their path to righteousness. The law of the king's table. Our final stop in today's exploration brings us to the opulent courts of the Persian kings, where the law of the king's table regulated the conduct and privileges of the royal banquets. These feasts were lavish affairs, showcasing the empire's wealth and generosity. However, they were also arenas of strict protocol and hierarchy. The law dictated seating arrangements, the order of service, and even the portion sizes for each guest, reflecting their status and favor with the king. For instance, being invited to dine at the king's table was a prestigious honor, but it came with expectations of impeccable conduct. Violations could lead to immediate expulsion or, in severe cases, political disgrace. Imagine yourself as a guest at one of these grand banquets, where the clinking of goblets and the murmur of conversation are orchestrated with precision. This legal structure reinforced the empire's social order, while also offering a glimpse into the opulence and complexity of Persian court life. As we conclude this segment, we hope you've enjoyed this glimpse into the fascinating legal landscape of ancient Persia. Their laws, while strange to modern sensibilities, offer profound insights into the values and priorities of a civilization that has left an indelible mark on history. Thank you for joining. in us in uncovering these peculiar provisions. Stay tuned as we continue to explore the strange and captivating laws of ancient civilizations. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more enlightening journeys through time. The peculiar laws of Babylonian society. Imagine yourself walking through the bustling streets of ancient Babylon, where the hanging gardens sway gently in the warm breeze, casting mysterious, dancing shadows across the cobbled roads. In this captivating world, one of the most enigmatic aspects of society was the legal code, a series of laws that pushed the boundaries of fairness, ingenuity, and sometimes downright oddness. Today, we'll delve into some of the strangest laws from this ancient civilization and see how they reflect the values and the unique mindset of the Babylonians. The Babylonians were governed by the Code of Hammurabi, a well-preserved Babylonian law code dating back to about 1754 BC. This code is renowned not only for its depth and detail, but also for its peculiar sense of justice. One of the most curious laws concerned the practice of medicine. If a patient died or lost an eye due to the surgeon's hand slipping during an operation, the surgeon's fingers were to be cut off. This law was not only meant to ensure accountability, but also deter surgeons from being careless. It tells us a great deal about the value Babylonians placed on human life and the lengths they would go to protect it, albeit in an extreme manner. The laws of Babylon also presented a rather intriguing approach to construction and architecture. If a builder constructed a house that collapsed and killed the owner, the builder himself would be put to death. Conversely, if the owner's son died as a result of the collapse, then the builder's son would face the same fate. To modern sensibilities, this might seem like an overly harsh and somewhat perplexing form of justice, but it highlights the profound responsibility builders held in ensuring the safety and integrity of their structures. In the realm of agriculture, Babylonian laws continued to surprise with their meticulous attention to detail. If a farmer neglected to repair his dike and, as a result, allowed water to flood a neighbor's field, he was required to compensate the neighbor for his loss. This law reflects an intricate understanding of agriculture and irrigation, demonstrating that the Babylonians were acutely aware of the interconnected nature of their society's sustenance. Social stratification was another area where the Babylonian legal system took on an unusual form. The laws provided different punishments for the same crime, depending on the social status of the person involved. For instance, if a person of higher status injured a person of lower status, they would face a monetary fine. However, if the roles were reversed, the punishment would be far more severe, often involving physical retribution. This law is a stark reminder of the rigid class system that existed in Babylonian society, where social hierarchies dictated every aspect of life, including justice. Now, let's take a moment to explore one of the most fascinating aspects of Babylonian law, the use of the ordeal. If a person was accused of a serious crime, such as adultery or theft, but there was no concrete evidence to support the accusation, the accused might be subjected to an ordeal by water. This involved the accused jumping into a river. If they survived, they were deemed innocent, as the river, seen as a divine entity, had spared them. If they drowned, their guilt was confirmed. This law, while primitive by modern standards, reflects a deep belief in divine justice and the supernatural forces that governed Babylonian life. Another curious law involved the concept of debt slavery. If a person was unable to pay their debts, they could sell themselves, or even their family members, into slavery to work off the debt. However, the Code of Hammurabi stipulated that this period of servitude could not exceed 3 years. This law, while seemingly draconian, was actually progressive for its time, as it limited the potential for perpetual servitude and offered a path to eventual freedom. Marriage laws in Babylon were also steeped in complexity and quirkiness. If a man decided to divorce his wife without just cause, he was required to return the dowry. However, if the wife was deemed at fault, she could be thrown into the Euphrates River. Similarly, the laws provided that if a woman was barren and could not bear children, her husband was permitted to take a second wife, but he was still required to care for his first wife. These laws underscore the emphasis placed on progeny and family continuity in Babylonian society, as well as the intricate balance of rights and responsibilities within marriage. Finally, let's consider the law regarding tenant farming. If a tenant farmer was unable to cultivate a field due to a natural disaster, such as a flood or storm, they were still required to pay rent. However, if the disaster was so severe that it affected the entire region, the rent could be waived. This law highlights the essential role of agriculture in Babylonian society and the delicate balance between tenant rights and landlord protections. As we bring our exploration of ancient Babylonian laws to a close, it's clear that this intricate legal system was not only a reflection of the civilization's values and priorities, but also a testament to its complexities and contradictions. So as you wander the ancient streets of Babylon in your imagination, take a moment to ponder these strange and fascinating laws. They offer a window into a world vastly different from our own, yet surprisingly familiar in its pursuit of justice, order, and balance.